Some people say I'm crazy. I've been called crazy old man. I've been called the crazy dirty old man. I've been called the wise crazy old man. I've been called the crazy old white man. People keep saying I'm crazy. Well, to you people, thank you, because you're right. And this is the Crazy Old Man Network.
It's happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around, 'cause I ain't nothing but drug free. It's happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around, 'cause I ain't nothing but drug free.
I used to see my buddy for years looking all depressed. I guess that he was in some major tests after class. We used to go and play some ball. He was fast and tall and he surpassed us all. But after a while I seen him playing less and less. He be looking more depressed and stressed at best. So one day after class, I took him aside. I said, tell me what's going on, man, are you alright? He said, I got some issues with my folks I can't resolve. No need to stress you out, bro, or get you involved. So I put it to him, have you started smoking weed? And the answer that he gave me really made me grieve. He said, yeah, once in a while when I need to mellow out. But I'll be alright, I'm not the one to worry about. Yo, we gotta get you help before you ruin yourself. You got greatness ahead, you ain't like everyone else. He said, I promise I'll be fine, and he gave me his hand. So I trusted him and hoped that he would soon understand. A couple months went by and he'd be worse and worse, like he was thrown in a curse. I hope that he would reverse. And one day, he asked me for a couple of bucks. He says I need to pay a friend, and right now he's stuck. I said, I know you smoking crack now, I confirm that for a fact now. I gotta get your help now, don't even try to back down. Gave him the cash, he promised Monday he would meet me. Friday got the call that would defeat me completely. For years I died of drug overdose. That was the saddest day ever, ain't nothing comes close. Man, I hate those drugs, hate them with all my soul. Chokes the young and the old, till the bodies is cold. So I don't care if you a player or wanna be thug. Don't ever, ever come close to drugs.
Happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around, 'cause I ain't nothing but drug free.
Months later, was still mourning his death. Was angry and sad that he fell in this mess. A teacher who noticed how miserable my soul was came over. He said, I see you carrying a boulder.
I know that I'm older, but let me tell you something that I never ever told you. Put my arms around his shoulder. My daughter, she was the pride of my heart as a father. We were never far apart. Was a popular girl, always on top of the world. Never scared to try something new and give it a whirl. But she had low self-esteem, if you know what I mean. And it only takes a moment, yo, to devastate a dream. She started hanging out with this girl from school. Her grades went down and she started breaking rules. And it festered and festered. We didn't want to face it till one day she came home totally wasted. Then a friend told us she was close to being arrested. We put our foot down and we forced to get her tested. She tested positive for drugs, but there was something else. The doctor asked to do more tests to check upon her health. And then came the news that will totally defeat me. Her use of all the needles, she had gotten HIV. I was livid. That moment and that feeling, I would always live with it. Man, it's still vivid. She died 5 years ago, nothing I could help. My Lord has helped me with this pain that I felt. With tears in my eyes, yo, I gave him a hug. May God give you strength to keep away from drugs. Keep away from drugs. Keep away from drugs.
Happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around, 'cause I ain't nothing but drug free. It's happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy.
Can't you see? I'm drug free.
It's happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around,
away from
'cause I ain't nothing but drug free. It's happening more and more each day.
Keep away from drugs.
Making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around,
away from
'cause I ain't nothing but drug free. It's happening more and more each day. These drugs making my friends crazy. I'm laying it down, don't bring it around, 'cause I ain't nothing
Drug addiction. Disease or choice, cure or change. I was a drunk. I was not an alcoholic, but a drunk. Alcohol was a crutch that I chose to drown out my sorrows and to escape the situation I put myself in. Then I met someone who cared for me, even though I was a drunk. She picked me up off the floor and cleaned me up. I left the situation and I quit getting drunk. I still drank, but I cut way down and knew when to stop. I had 10 years of sobriety until I ended up the relationship. I then went about 6 months getting drunk often. I then decided to quit drinking completely. Over the last 14 years, I've had 4 drinks. I have no urge to drink. I lived in a bar and did not relapse. I attended bar and did not relapse. Everybody's addiction is different. The recovery is different for each person. Some turn to God for help. Some go to AA or NA. Some do it on their own with the help from others. I did it on my own without help. I just decided not to drink anymore. One thing is true in all cases. Recovery is from within. The addict has to want to recover. The addict has to make the first step and realize that they need to change. Then they may need help from friends, family, God, and or a support group. What about rehab? For some it works, but only if they make changes when they get out. They still have to make up their mind that they will recover, and they still may need help from friends, family, God, and or support groups. AA and NA say that addiction is a disease. There is no cure. The addict must abstain and never have another taste of drugs or alcohol. Many use the disease as an excuse to relapse. Based on my observations, it is not a disease, but a character flaw that can be changed. Maybe in some cases it is a disease or a genetic defect. Addiction can run in families. Is it genetic or environmental? In many cases, if the parents are addicted, one or more of the children may become addicts. In the case of smoking crack and other drugs, the children will get a contact high, which can lead to addiction. If a child is around other addicts, the same thing can happen, or peer pressure may lead to addiction. What I have seen is environmental. When I was a child, a girl I knew who well had a father who was alcoholic. She did not go to alcohol. She did try suicide a few times, then changed her religion. Her father was Jewish, her mother was Protestant, and she became Catholic. Her family environment formed her life's choices. My dad's ex-partner and his wife were alcoholics. Their son was schizophrenic and died at a young age from rheumatoid arthritis. Was the son's health determined by the parents' alcoholism? Could it have been the effects of the alcohol before and during pregnancy? I don't know. His mental state could have been caused by the stress he was under from his parents' alcoholism. A parent's substance abuse does put a child at risk. There is no doubt about that. In most cases, if a child sees damage caused by drugs and he or she is turned away from drugs, when they see the downside of the drug use, before they're under the influence of others, they may have something to fight the urge to use drugs. Damn it. Just a second. In most cases, if the child sees damage caused by drugs, he or she is turned away from drugs. When they see the downside of the drug use before they are under the influence of others, they have something to fight the urge to use drugs. Peer pressure can be very hard for them to fight. The urge to be accepted is a strong one. A parent needs to know what the children are doing and who they are doing it with. They need to talk to their children and tell their children what to do and not to do. Telling them not to do something may make them rebel. Giving them reasons not to do something will give them reasons not to do it. The prospective addict has to say no to drugs. The more parents say no, the more they want to try it. I have found that telling someone they're wrong can make an enemy, where if it is your boss, it can cost you your job. You have to show them why they are wrong, so that they decide that they are wrong. You cannot stop a person from using drugs. They have to see that it is not the way to go. What makes it harder to help a person stop using is that they only see the good side. The bad side is hidden by the good side. Physical addiction is hard to fight. Cigarette smokers can see that. When you are away from it, you get antsy. You start to shake. You start withdrawals. And the only thing that will stop them is a fix. Eventually, the pain of withdrawals goes away. The urge to use may be with you for a long time. It may even never go away. Years later, there may be times when you think that you want to fix. The longer you say no, the easier it is to say no. There is hope if you realize this. You have to be strong, and you can be strong. The only one that can get an addict to stop is the addict. No matter what friends and family say, the addict is the only one who can put a stop to addiction. The place for the friends and the family is to help them realize that they can do it, and that they will be better off if they stop. Most have given up on life, or they're trying to cover up the pain of a traumatic experience. It is a crutch to forget. Self-esteem is usually a key to success. I have never seen an addict who cares for themselves. They feel that they deserve the problems they have. They deserve to lose a job, the home, and the family. They deserve what is happening to them. They use drugs to forget their problems. When they are high, they are not thinking about the problems, but enjoying the moment. They are not thinking about the fact that they are killing themselves. They do not care about anything but the high. You have to give them a reason to care. You have to show them that they are worth saving. You have to get them in touch with themselves. You have to show them that they are someone to love. You also have to find the underlying reason for their addiction and work to either eliminate it or to find a way that they can deal with it and set it aside so that they can live without it bothering them. I have found that you can deal with anything if you do not worry about it. If you can not do anything about it, you have to realize that and work around it. when something bad happens to you, you have to look for a way to bring about good. All of the bad things that happened to me throughout my life made me what I am today. I use the bad to strengthen my resolve to improve my life. I realize that if I can take care of my needs and limit my wants, I can have a happy life. In order to quit drinking and to do away with the urges, I had to institute a total attitude readjustment. I had to change my priorities, and I had to start living my life for me. Once I did that, I found that helping others helps me. Writing the book, Crazy Old White Man from the Hood, showed me that what I am today and gave me a reason to stay sober. Helping others find themselves and find good inside, it helps me remember who I am and what I am. You have to live life, and love yourself before you can love others, and before others will love you. You have to sell yourself to yourself before you can sell yourself to others. Life is great if you live it to the fullest. This does not mean to go wild, but to make what you do enjoyable. Everything that happens to you has a good side, if you use it for good. Stay clean and sober. Thank you.
Okay, I hope you listened to that. I was going to talk a little bit before that, but I had a phone call before David Wamsey was finished with his song called Can't You See. I really don't have a lot to add to that. I've been around in the drug world for a long time. Most people I know are drug addicts, or they may be alcoholics, but an alcoholic is a drug addict. Alcohol is a drug. It's just a legal drug. And also many of them are using prescription drugs, and some of them, when they need money, they'll sell drugs. But it's, the thing is that, like I say, the addict has to want to quit. You can help the addict find reasons to quit, but it's the addict's decision whether they're going to quit or not. And I've gotten quite a few people off of drugs, and I'd like to get more off of drugs. It's an attitude that you have to have. You have to love yourself, you have to know yourself, and you got to be yourself. If you love yourself, there's no way in hell you're going to be taking those drugs, because you know it's hurting you. So what I'm going to do is, on YouTube there's a short movie called The Day and the Death of Donnie B. And what I'm going to play is the soundtrack of that movie. They also have a shorter version. It's not on YouTube, it's on archive.org. They have a shorter version of the song that's audio. But the version I have, like I say, it's a soundtrack of the whole movie, which isn't very long. And you can just about use your imagination. You can just about see what's happening. So I'm going to play that now, and after that's over, I'm going to be out of here.
It's a day in the death of Donnie B. Strung out, waiting to die. Nothing to laugh at, no one to cry. Just another dirty gray day in the death of Donnie B. Just another dirty gray day in the death of Donnie B.
Drugs is just a waste of time.
Just to be normal, you have to go through a lot of hell.
It's like suicide, jumping off a bridge.
I know he's killing himself, and I have a sneaking suspicion that he knows it also.
This is one of the places where you usually find a junkie. This cold, narrow, steel barred cell. You'll see him in here, double up in pain, sweating it out, waiting for the morrow.
I really didn't know who I was, what I was or where I was going.
He is socially dead, morally dead, and soon he will be physically dead.
Drugs are a cop-out. It really doesn't help the matter any, makes it worse.
You're a poor person. Here you have a very expensive habit. In fact, you're really living like a rich person. Because here you're giving yourself something which is going to cost you quite a few dollars per day. And where's the money going to come from? No one's going to give you that much money a day. And as your habit grows, in other words, as you use more and more drugs, this is inevitable. It's going to happen that you need more and more money. And no one's going to give you that as a gift. No one is going to have to be sorry for you and give you money just to be giving you money, but because you look sick, because your habit is coming down on you. You're going to have to get the money somehow, so you're going to steal.
There's no future for him. As it stands in reality, there is no present because he's really non-existent. His whole world consists of, let's say, of him. The economic crisis consists mainly of the hassle of trying to get that dollar, stealing, lying, cheating their friends. They like to use people for what they can get. They might as well be dead.
My husband has been around this problem quite some time, and when it hit our family, at first, it sounds so cruel for my husband to say, well, I guess I better go out and get some more insurance out on him, because since he doesn't give a damn about his own life, at least we can make some money from it. And I thought this was very cruel to have my husband say something like this. But then when you sit down and think about it realistically, this is exactly what he's doing.
what has to happen, the addict has to like change his present view that he has of himself. If he doesn't, he will remain a walking corpse. And until this thing happens, he will continue on this path to nowhere.
It's a day in the death of Donnie B. Can't see a blue sky above. Can't feel the raindrops. Can't feel the sun. Can't know a lover. Couldn't have one. Can't feel the snowflakes. Can't work or play. Too busy finding a fix for the day. Just another weary, worried day in the death of Donnie B. Just another weary, worried day in the death of Donnie B.
When you come into court, you see these people standing before the law, you can realize, gee, I remember seeing that person walking around, the neighborhood, a few months ago. And they must have seen all the addicts, they must have seen the people hanging on the streets, people that were without clothes and shelter because they used drugs. But that didn't seem to impress their minds. They probably were saying to themselves, well, that will never happen to me. I'm starting to use drugs, but I know I won't be like that. I'm not that old, I'm young, and I can take care of it. I can control my habit and all this kind of thing,
Most of the people we do arrest are the minor people, the street addict, the 18, 19-year-old person who is on junk, use 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 bags a day. Arrest them for either possessing narcotics itself or for committing various crimes they need to do in order to get the money to supply their habit. And he spends anywhere from 6 months to 2, 3, 4 years in jail on each offense.
It's kind of hard to see a young person almost near death because he stuck a needle in this arm. A person who's vital, who has a lot of life in him, who should be going to school and who should be playing, playing basketball or something, yet and has a body to be able to do these things. This happens time after time. Seeing even teenagers almost dying, fighting death. Many people stand around in the crowd, and watching this person if they see this kind of thing, and there's not too much sympathy for it. This is a different kind of death.
He's sleepy, his nose is running, he itches. He feels cold, he feels hot. He doesn't even know what the sun really looks like. He's literally living in a world of illusion. He's like a zombie.
It's a way of living for Donnie B. Jiving his friends for a buck. And nothing else matters. Nobody cares. Hanging around to raise a little bread for the death of Donnie B. Hanging around to raise a little bread for the death of Donnie B.
The great bulk of the junkies are still in the same place I left them at. 25 years ago, I was in the streets, a detective making an arrest, and today I see the same fellas who've been to jail off and on, on the same corners, in the same stinking cellars, in the same rooftops, and their friends have died of overdoses or just being sick from the junk. And they're still in the same spot. Nothing has changed for them. But most of them I've known 20 years ago are dead or in jail.
I found better things to do. I saw that wasn't me. I wanted to live to be an old man, real old man. It's hard to describe. It's just really a way of killing yourself.
No more school, no more future. It's an abysmal end. And I tell you, I'm not trying to put any kids down, or any people down, but start with junk. It puts you down.
It's the needle and vein for Donnie B. Freezing his muscle and brain. Bottle cap living, bottle cap dead. Just another dirty gray dawn in the death of Donnie B. Just another dirty gray dawn in the death of Donnie B.
So it's a pretty rough story. There's no easy way to tell a guy, don't take it because you get jaundice, because you get syphilis, because you die. No, he doesn't want to listen. This guy knows everything about dope. The only thing he doesn't know that when I see them in the autopsy room on a Monday morning, you see this fish-eyed look looking up at the ceiling. It's the end of the road. And then you got to call the old lady and his mother and tell her to pick up the brown paper bag up front and take all his clothes. That's the end of the road for her boy. And then she says, why? Why?
Goodbye, Donnie. You're feeling no pain. Messing up your life with that needle and vein. Just another dirty gray dawn in the death of Donnie B. Just another dirty gray dawn in the death of Donnie B. Say goodbye to the people, Donnie. You're going away soon. Goodbye, Donnie. Goodbye, Donnie. Goodbye, Donnie. Goodbye, Donnie.
Okay, I'm going to play another little deal. It's called A Day in the Life of a Homeless Person. It's something that I put together based on all the homeless people I know, and I know a lot of them. And then after that, I am going to close it. A Day in the Life of a Homeless Person is a composite of those I've seen. I'm going to tell you about the day in the life of Joe Wino. Joe was homeless and a drunk. At one time he was a successful businessman, but he lost his family in an auto accident. After the accident he could not function. He started to drink to make the pain go away. Soon he could not function at work and got fired. Then he lost his house and found himself in the streets. During the warm parts of the year, he sleeps on park benches, in alleys, or in abandoned buildings, bus stop shelters, or anywhere else he can lie down and go to sleep. During the winter, if the shelters are full, he tries to find something inside. May not be heated, but he has some blankets to help keep the cold out of his body. All his belongings are in a plastic bag. In the morning, he gets up and heads for the garbage cans and the dumpsters. he looks for bottles that he can turn in for deposit money, food, or something to drink. The problem with the bottles is that more people are drinking and water out of the bottles, and those have no deposit. That cuts down his income. He likes the dumpsters behind the restaurant because they sometimes have food, especially after meal times. If he is lucky, he will not have to spend money on food. That gives him more money for his liquid refreshment. Joe is at the bus stop. When the bus stops, he gets on and asks if anyone can help him with his bus fare. If there is a sucker, he gets the fare and jumps off. Can't do this too often because each bus driver remembers him and will eventually stop picking him up. When he gets enough for a cheap half pint, he goes to the liquor store and buys the cheapest half pint he can find. Sometimes someone will take him to get food. Then he sells it for cheap booze. Many of those on the streets are drug addicts too. Some have lost a limb or two because of their addiction. You see them on crutches and wheelchairs and hopping around on one leg. During the day, they are downtown begging from the office workers and the shoppers. If they aren't causing a problem, police just look the other way. Joe's day is spent walking, begging, checking garbage, having an occasional nap. As night falls, he starts to think about where he will sleep. He finds a place in an abandoned building. He has a bottle that he will drink until he passes out. If he is lucky, he will wake up in the morning. Maybe, if he's lucky, he will not wake up in the morning. If it's cold, he may freeze to death. He may be killed by another homeless person or a sudden sick killer. He may die from cheap booze. How lucky he is depends on his living or his death being painless. No one will miss him. No one will care. He is a lost and forgotten soul. Maybe when he's gone, someone may wonder what happened to that bum that used to beg there. Maybe one person will miss him. I may miss him. When we go, if one person realizes we're gone, and we were not totally lost.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the show. I want you all to have a good day. I want you to have a good week, good month, and a good year. Most of all, I want you to have a beautiful life. And thank you for being you.